They dedicate their lives to helping orphaned animals. They open their hearts and homes to all the challenges of raising a young life, no matter how large or small. They are the Wildlife Nannies. Today on Wildlife Nannies. Baby rhino Layla is a miracle, but her parents abandoned her shortly after she was born. Will Dr. Victor Molnár succeed in reuniting her with her parents? And 6-month-old puppy Janis. Her trainer, Alois Haselwanter, is putting her through the paces for working in the wilderness. Will she meet the challenges of dog training school and become a member of the Tirolian Mountain rescue team? And today on our Wildlife Moment, Genet Leonard.
I think he sees me as his mum, yeah.
Will this foundling baby make new friends on his first excursion into the wild? Rhinoceros baby Layla is a small sensation. She's the first artificially inseminated rhino baby ever. Dr. Victor Molnár lovingly looks after his precious baby patient day and night. After all, a rhino birth is very rare at any zoo. Layla first saw the light of day at her current home, the Budapest Zoo in Hungary. Dr. Victor Molnár is in the pens every day and monitors the infant rhino closely. Layla's mother, Lulu, is 26 years old, and Layla's conception and birth was almost miraculous.
There has never been a rhinoceros baby that was born through artificial insemination. Layla is the first, and for us, it's a great responsibility to keep her alive. Before, we had a stillborn baby from the mother. We didn't know if this would work, so after the birth, we were all really ecstatic. One can't describe our happiness when she was born. When we saw the baby's ears move, we just knew that everything would be all right.
When the doctors had to give Layla medication to strengthen her immune system, her relationship with her mother was disrupted.
Even though Lulu is a good mother and loving towards her baby, she wouldn't let the baby near her teat, and so she could not get any milk from her mother.
The zoo couldn't take any chances. An angry 2-ton mother like Lulu could become deadly for the infant. There was no other choice but to try to raise Layla by hand, a very challenging job that had never ever been tried.
After we gave her medication to stabilize her, we let Layla back in with her mother, but she became fairly aggressive towards her. She wanted to push her away with her horn. We were afraid that she could seriously hurt the 110-pound baby.
But all wasn't lost. Dr. Molnár and the zoo caretaker Peter Zifra stepped in as rhino parents and have since taken great pride in raising their unusual foundling. They've even tried to share their passion for soccer with her.
She is a miracle baby. That's a big responsibility. Everyone wants this to go well.
But how will a reunion with her birth parents turn out? Any encounter with them could turn deadly for this big baby. 6-month-old puppy Janis is part of a very special lineage of Harzer foxhounds. She's now ready for the challenge of trying out for the rugged outdoor search and rescue team of the Tirolian Mountain Rescue in Kitzbühel. Not every dog is suitable, and there are very specific qualities that trainer Alois Haselwanter has to consider with each new applicant.
This is exactly the age where one can provide a dog a lot for his future journeys in life. Because this is the phase where a dog picks up the most and never forgets, both positive and negative things.
Janis's first teacher will be Dennis, an old hat from the rescue team. He's been on patrol with Alois for over 10 years, all over the world.
He's a true old gentleman, with all the life experiences and a lot of experience in rescues. Dennis has found people in avalanches and also on earthquake missions. In Iran alone, he saved 8 people, and also several in Turkey.
Special deeds also deserve special meals. When preparing food for his dogs, Alois only offers them the best ingredients, just like a 5-star chef. The delicious meals are an important part of the life of every one of his rescue dogs.
And then we put a fresh egg on top.
Janis is hungry and reacts instinctively.
So ist sie brav.
I let the dog bark, so he associates it with his search efforts. The dog must stay with the victims and bark to raise the alarm. That's an unnatural action that wouldn't happen in nature. You have to teach this to the puppies right away. They only get a reward during their search activities if they bark. That's how we teach them to bark when they discover a victim.
After the delicious meal, it's bedtime because rigorous wilderness training is in store for Janis the next morning. Layla is at one of her checkups with Dr. Molnár. As the special baby at the zoo, it's important to see that she's developing normally, just like any infant.
At birth, they don't have a hard horn yet. That grows later on. The second horn then starts to grow after half a year. Until the age of 2, it doesn't get that big because they are still getting milk from their mother. A horn would be painful for Mum.
Layla's other daddy, Peter, knows her quirks. If the milk from the zoo kitchen doesn't have the right temperature, it will disagree with Layla. Each day, this little big fellow gets 1.3 gallons 5 times daily. It's an exhausting job for the caretaker and quite a feat for the baby.
The milk that she's drinking is very good for a calf. Of course, it's not as good as mother's milk.
When the bottle's empty, it's time for a well-deserved nap. Because with stress, she won't gain the 2 pounds a day that a healthy growing rhino baby should. Her other foster parent is on his way. Victor Molnár tends to many animals every day, but his rounds always include the rhino compound. Layla is his special baby.
The father lives over there. That's his enclosure. Mum lives here with Layla. They are separated in case of an emergency, but they meet through the bars quite often.
Layla is getting restless in her cage. It's high time for her to get some exercise. This means her mother Lulu will have to leave the outside compound. Layla is kept apart from her parents for her own safety.
The father could maybe kill the baby. It's not a problem for a 2.5-ton animal to kill a 400-pound animal.
Now that the outer area is safe, Layla can finally get some fresh air. It's always a special moment when Layla comes out, and there are always visitors who make sure to catch her daily outings. This is Layla's family. Contact with her foster parents Peter and Dr. Victor is very important, just like with every baby.
She is very sweet and beautiful. Well, at least I think so. But she's not too swift. Other than that, I'm very happy. She's like my daughter. I think I had the best days when she was born.
Today, Layla will be reunited with her parents, but will they recognize their baby this time? This morning, The first simple challenges are waiting for Janis in the forests and up on the elm. Here the dogs are free to explore on their own at first.
Now we're going to practice different commands with the dogs. When Janis is supposed to come, Benny has to sit and wait, and vice versa. We've never before done this.
Danny, Platz. Janis, hier. Janis, hier.
Both dogs are at full concentration as they listen for the commands from Alois. The pitch of his voice is very important, and so are the slightly harder commands to Janis.
I just did that so that the pup will learn from the adult. It's important to recognize the different commands and to teach which command is for each dog.
Even an old pro like Dennis needs some positive reinforcement, so during this training session, Alois involves Dennis as well. An object is hidden, and Dennis is then given the command to search for it. But he doesn't need a treat afterwards. His reward is the search itself. Janis then has to watch. That's how she learns the principle of the exercise. Dennis is searching intently, and Janis seems a little uncertain. She's not allowed to run after Dennis, otherwise there would be no point in this lesson. Alois will now turn things up a notch for Janis, as the three are off to a much more difficult set of challenges. Nanny Peter needs to check Layla's weight. Over the past few days, Layla has had diarrhea, and Peter's worry for this large infant is very real. Something must be up. But a medical exam proves to be a difficult task. Layla hates them and isn't interested in getting on the scale.
We have to regularly check for heartbeats. They are barely audible right now. With the grown rhinos, it's almost impossible. Their skin is so thick that one can't hear the heart.
Dr. Molnár finally has a chance to listen to Layla's heartbeat. And things sound good. Next come attempts to measure Layla's temperature. But once again, she doesn't want to cooperate. She has a very strong independent will.
You could only hold a 400-pound baby like this with several strong men. But why bother? We would much rather let her run and not let her get mad at us. We can always try again some other time.
There's nothing drastically wrong with Layla, so now she's off for a dramatic reunion with her father. Will he accept her, or could she come to serious harm?
The helicopter has landed. Hello, Werner. I have a new dog. She's 6 months old. Can we get her used to the noise? That would be super. Let me put her in for a moment.
Janis is not reacting well to this new noise challenge. At first, she tries to find protection at Alois's side. He calms the pup down before lifting her into the waiting helicopter. Not an easy task with the moving blades. But Janis trusts her leader Alois completely and remains calm.
Here's a special treat. I'm surprised. I thought there would be more of a problem because it's such a loud noise. But you can see that she feels comfortable in here.
The next test is already at hand. The pup would rather crawl into a hole than be lifted into the air with this mysterious, noisy machine.
All this is new for her. We've never been on a gondola. She has to learn all that. Going on a ski lift, on a tow bar, the gondola, and even flying in a helicopter.
The view from the gondola was spectacular, but the next challenge is already waiting for Janis.
Now we try a snowcat for the first time.
The pup would much rather not encounter this new machine, but snowcats are often the only way to transport a dog rescue team to the scene of an avalanche. Janis has to practice staying calm in this contraption as well. And practice makes perfect. On the mountaintop plateau, another trainer is already putting Janis's competition to the test. Janis has to gather all the courage that a small, inexperienced dog like herself can muster just to exit from this contraption.
She's not used to this. Thanks, Fritz. That's a good girl. Well, she was a bit scared, but this was her first time. And there's a first time for everything. And practice makes perfect.
Leonard feels safe and protected with Alison Horn. She's been taking care of the foundling ever since he arrived at the African Dawn Wildlife Sanctuary.
He's a little Genet. We've had him here for about 5 weeks now, 5 or 6 weeks. He was brought in, he was just probably a week old. His eyes weren't open yet when he was brought in. And we've been looking after him, and now he's turning into this little monster. Here's your breakfast.
Leonard has developed well in the last weeks in the tender care of this animal med student.
Yeah, that's a good boy. Look at it. Unfortunately, a lot of the land that, where the wildlife are living are now getting built into houses. And I think they were just digging up some land, and they just saw him on his own. Maybe they disturbed his nest, or they dug it up. No sign of any parents or any siblings or anything, so.
But Leonard is growing up quickly. Alison now has to slowly introduce him to the big wide world. She's already wondering how her adoptee will react to all the other animals in the park. How will he manage?
This is really the first time that I've taken him outside. He's used to the safeness of inside, so I think he's a little bit nervous, but get him used to just the smells of being outside and the noises and the different animals about. Wants to play on the grass and go for a run, I think. He's a good boy. Want some lunch?
Alison also takes care of a small serval cat as well.
Yeah.
She still gets her bottle from her. For the first time, Leonard sees that Alison takes care of other animals as well, and a feeling of jealousy seems to be surfacing.
This is little Oscar. He's a little serval kitten. We had him brought into us about a week and a half ago now. He's actually about the same age as Leonard, as far as we can gather. They seem to be getting on pretty well.
Looks like Leonard has resigned himself to having a brother in Oscar. At least it's some comfort after the loss of his parents.
It's nice they'll interact a little bit together. I do watch them closely because obviously Oscar's a bit bigger and a bit stronger, but Leonard's really quite interested in him, and when he sees him he gets quite excited, and it's nice for them to have a bit of company for each other.
Leonard and his teddy bear are now also Oscar's playmates. Oscar is very awake, unlike Leonard, who's very tired after all these new impressions. But for his species, that's a normal development.
He seems to sort of recognise my voice now, and when there's other people around, he'll quite often still come and sit with me, and so I think he knows that I'll look after him anyway.
Alison knows that she has to constantly challenge Leonard with little journeys of discovery. That doesn't always work out, though. He loves the comfort of Alison's lap And the strange noises from the guinea fowls are not helping his sense of adventure.
I think he sees me as his mum, yeah.
Before too long, Leonard is relaxed again in the protective arms of his nanny. But with Alison's help and encouragement, he will soon have enough courage to make it out there on his own.
And my biggest fear was that, that he just wouldn't make it, I think, really. So to see him today is great. Well, there you're a bit naughty.
Rhino baby Layla is about to meet her real father, Easy Boy. It's only through bars, but these attempts are very stressful for everyone.
It's very exciting for us, because we already had a situation where Easy Boy reacted very aggressively towards Layla, even though he's very tame with people.
It's an awe-inspiring moment when two creatures of such uneven proportions meet. One can sense the tension in the air. And there's always the danger that this miracle baby could get injured.
We'll keep trying to bring these two together over and over again until they bond.
It can't be easy keeping a father the size of a pickup truck calm, but these two will eventually meet without bars in the way, if all goes well.
This time was great for the baby. It wasn't too exhausting for Layla, or for the father either.
Inside, Layla has had enough.
Everyone needs a little stress in normal life. So do the rhinos.
It's now Layla's turn to head to the outside compound. Her foster parents give her all the love and attention she desperately needs. A little exercise is also good for the growing baby, but today her interest is not soccer.
It's very important that we integrate the baby into a group. I mean, if the baby has positive contact with the caretakers and to people, then we also have a better chance that these three will be able to live in a group.
Although the parenting so far has been done by her two foster daddies, her moments with her mother are already very tender, even if it is through bars. This is a big step, and even though it will take more time, these two will soon share the same pen again.
That's wonderful. It's like there were no bars, and that's a great sign. She accepts the baby with no problem, and that's important, because it's the first step to a reintegration without bars between them.
Janis's first real assignment in snow. It's time to practice an avalanche rescue mission. At first, Alois lets Janis simply observe all the activity.
All the dogs have to be introduced to one another because they go on missions together. And they all react differently, some more positively than others. So this is an important learning experience. Janis is totally relaxed with the other dogs, and that's good.
This imitation avalanche will now hide a victim who will be waiting in a snow cave. How will Janis react to all this excitement? Is her nose sensitive enough to rise to this extremely difficult challenge? At this point, the team is making the lesson a little easier. Janis is at least allowed to see how Alois vanishes. During this process, other trainers hold her back. The cave is sealed behind Alois. Now comes the big challenge. Janis' sensitive nose has held up well under this difficult challenge. she proved that her nose can rise to the challenge without fail. In the cave, she's rewarded for her success. This positive reinforcement will help her on future rescue missions.
Well, I'm very surprised, in a positive way. She was in very, very good control. I'm confident that Janis will make it. I don't have any concern there. She was so happy to receive a treat. Then again, that's perfectly normal.
Very soon now, all these games will become serious, and Janis is well on her way to being accepted as a member of the mountain rescue team that saves human lives. Next time on Wildlife Nannies, Anya, a motherless wallaby. It's high time for first jumps with Nanny Goonie. Will she become the new star of the health center in Healesville, Australia? And Elephant Malaika. This is the first day for elephant school. Will Malaika be able to show her first group of school children what she's learned there?